We ventured into Wales and played many a board game, but how many other games have we played in September?
Hi, I'm Libby, this is Julian, and together we are Box Meeples. And as always, it's towards the end of the month and we're counting down all the new and notable games that we have played in September, and it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, we went to DraigCon,
Yes.
as we called it, which was a gathering of the four of us in Wales with the people who make Fun with Boxes, a fantastic YouTube channel you definitely should subscribe to if you haven't already. We had a fantastic time with Phil and Lisa and managed to belt through a lot of board games in the space of, I think, 3 or 4 days we were there.
We did indeed. And you might have seen we had a video earlier in the month saying what games we wanted to get off of our shelf of shame that were games that we have brought ourselves that weren't made for content or anything like that. We've just been itching to play, and we did make progress in some of those as well. So you might have seen some bits on that. But this is the whole month run through.
It's a lot, so strap in, because get yourself a cup of tea. This might take a while.
We'll be as brief as we can,
Yes.
but we do like to chat sometimes.
And there are some big hitters.
There's some ones that I've been wanting to play for a long time on here, and I think there's going to be games in this month's play that are quite easily going to make it into our end of year favourite games of all time lists. Yeah. 100%.
So, what do we have?
I'm just going to go through here, top to bottom. Yeah. We played another one from the Open and Play series, Monster 12, with your girls. It was a nice family game. The Open and Play games are from Kosmos, and they just all have these magnetic tops to them, and they sort of open up. You can put the decks onto the lids and then play away.
I didn't enjoy it as much as My Goldmine. But that's probably not fair, because My Goldmine is a piece of genius. Few games measure up to My Goldmine.
And we did play My Goldmine again this month on varying occasions.
Yeah, we played a lot of My Goldmine. It's okay. It's a kind of push your luck game.
Perfect for kids, nice and colourful, with the dice and everything.
I think it's okay. It's fine for what it's attempting to do. It's simple rules. You can teach kind of the push your luck mechanism, which inherently is unfair. But it is what it is, and I think it does what it intends to do well.
Yeah, and I think it is fun at points where people have sort of put their dice down on different of the monsters, and there's sort of one monster left for everyone to try to catch, and they need a high dice number, and you're going around just hoping that it'll be you that gets to pull those monsters in, and technically you've done none of the work for it, but you get all of the rewards. So that's quite fair.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that's unfair, but it's also quite a joyous moment when it happens to you. Dragonkeepers is another one from Kosmos, brand new. It'll be out for Essen. So we're playing one of the early copies here that I'll be doing some content on for work as well, which I really enjoy.
It's a super game. It's really great.
Very cute little dragons.
Adorable dragons.
Yeah.
There's lots of layers of thought that goes into this. Obviously, when you reveal your hand, you hold out for being able to place 4 orange dragons down and getting lots of points, or do you do little bits and start scooping up smaller points but more plentiful? There's a rule about where you place your dragons, and if you get 4 out, you get 16 points if you're the first to do that, which is almost game winning. But then you've blocked off 2 of your dragons and closed that door. So it's all about judging when it's best to seize those opportunities of big points, and when it's best just to bide your time. And you see a black dragon there, which is a wild card. Do you throw your whole game plan out the way to get that, because that's incredibly useful? And on the flip side of that, it's got the 6 as well. So then you can basically you as the cards are drawn, you then get dictated what's scoring for that round essentially. But you can influence that by placing one of your own cards over one half of the book. So if you have that 6 in hand, that's big money.
I did win one of our games by saving up my black dragon to use as the number 6, and I had some other dragons, I think they might have been white, I can't remember, and played all 6 of those down, and that did get me a huge bonus to be able to win the game.
If you manipulate the book so it's easy to score, say 2 blue, the chance of the other people being able to do that as well around the table is higher. and then suddenly you're like, well, I'm literally just giving points to my opponents. And in a way, sometimes it's quite good to do that, because then you can clear the lower scoring parts of the circle you're building.
The amulets.
So if people are scooping those up, then you're into higher point territory for when you then get to your turn again.
And do you go in early and try and get the higher point centres for your amulets, knowing that the outside edges are going to be lower pointed? Or are you trying to hoard your baby dragons and try and wait a little bit longer to try and get some of the better pointed amulets that are out there for later in the game? So, there's a lot of levels of strategy
it's a
in
really,
that. It's really fun
good game.
Yeah, really enjoying that one. We played 3 Second Try. And at this point, I'm also going to say Viking See-Saw. And these were from the same company that our friends have picked up at Essen in a Kickstarter bundle.
Yeah, so it's a bundle.
I'll be looking out for them again.
It's a bundle of 9, I think, Japanese originally published games, but by sometimes well-known designers.
Yeah, I think Viking See-Saw, was a Ryder game. And it's much like Buffet Boss that we spoke about last month in terms of placing objects, trying not to swing and topple everything off. But these were different shaped and different weighted ones, so you're specifically looking at the weight of the ones that you placed. A lot of fun, very silly little party games, both of them.
Yes.
3 Second
Three
Try.
Second Try was
hilarious.
I can't remember the last time I laughed that much. And in this, it's a very, very quick game.
The best gaming component ever.
Absolutely. So you have a 3 second timer, which is there's a track where a little ball bearing bounces down, and that's 3 seconds. But you choose on your turn, if you're the master, you choose between body and brain, and you have a silly challenge that you then, everyone has to bid how many of that challenge they can do in 3 seconds.
Yeah, like one of the cards that we had was how many times can you say the word specific within this 3 seconds, and you then also have to put your finger on to stop the ball bearing from touching the bottom of the track. So it's actually less than 3 seconds, and then everyone's bidding and trying, and of course they're not saying specific, they're saying pacific, and it's hilarious.
One go. Specific. I think I said it once. Yeah, my attempt was an absolute mess.
It was.
I was so cocky. I was like, I can do 7. Why have I said 7? Oh no!
It's 3 seconds.
So both of those games were lots of fun. Very silly fun.
Yeah, it's tiny little boxes, perfect for taking away for parties and things.
Yeah, lots of fun.
You played Detective City of Angels, which you will have seen some content on earlier this month.
So you're away for a event in Birmingham. Left me on my own, and so I decided this is the opportunity to play. I think I played 4 cases now of Detective City Angels. Really, really, really love it. I had high expectations for it.
You did, and it'd been on your wish list for a long, long time.
I was so thrilled to get it for bargain price. I mentioned all this in the video, so have a watch of that if you haven't already seen it. And I'm absolutely loving it. You'll be going away for Essen when we're filming this. Next week, so I'm hoping I have some time in the evening to play another case through, and this is all kind of building towards being able to play it multiplayer, and I think I'm getting essentially twice the value out of it, because as I say in that video, to play it multiplayer, one of you has to be the chisel, and you have to know the cases to be effective at that. So that's what I'll be doing when we play it, and I'm really looking forward to playing it. But have a watch that video.
We played 3 Ring Circus by Devir, which was a lovely game, really lovely card art, and you're travelling around in this circus. Barnum Circus takes its little route as a timer, basically, but you are sort of competing between being able to do the best acts, pick up the best types of people, where you can perform in either little towns, you're not getting great rewards, or big cities, and you can get these huge great big rewards for that, and trying to sort of work with your player board to get these different bonuses in terms of where you've placed your acts, and trying to get everything to work together, and the puzzle of that worked really well, I thought.
It was an interesting game, and one of these ones that look quite complicated and quite big, but actually play relatively quickly. And I find a really interesting part of that game is where you're placing your cards, because as you're placing them onto your board, into your circus, you have to weigh up the cost, because you have cheaper cards that don't do as much. and obviously more expensive cards, which take longer to kind of get the money from other cards to be able to play. But obviously then if you have cheaper cards after that, you get them for free when you place them into your circus, which is a defined amount of space. So it's like, well, do I fill this with cheap cards and start, being able to do performances, or do I hold farm and get the big hitters? And obviously you're trying to meet objectives as well as you're playing it.
Yeah, and I found it interesting. Shall I focus on one circus, one of the rings of my circus of the 3 that you have, and try and get better rewards on there? Or, are you trying to sort of try and do a couple of, or all 3 of your rings of circus at the same time, which would then get you different rewards, or might be a slightly slower progress to some of those bigger things. So it was really interesting playing. Yeah, and as I say, the artwork.
Really good art.
Lovely.
And it's fun, when you've got circuses, obviously you can't have the same circus in a place that's already had a circus, but then there's thematic elements of, if you do a smaller circus in a smaller town, all the other towns are like, yay, the circus, we're going to go there.
Yeah, get some money.
So doing smaller, there's lots of fun things to think about.
And the components are lovely. Those circus tents are joyous.
Devir are just doing hit after hit after hit.
Yeah,
as
we'll get to more of those in a bit.
Devir on a winning streak.
We played Among Cultists.
Yes.
Which is right here. A prototype copy sent to us. Thank you very much. And a social deduction game, but more on the board than I've ever played a social deduction before.
Yeah, so as the name would suggest, it's based on the very, very popular video game Among Us, with a kind of Cthulhu cult theme going on. You're in a university. And it's a really intriguing game because you have a mission to do. You're meant to be collecting books, but really that's just a mechanism to get you to do stuff. So you have engagements with one person who might be the killer.
Yeah, and you can try and take your gauge of them, see whether you think they're on your side or not.
I thought it reminded me obviously of all the other social deduction games, particularly Unfathomable, but felt like a very quick version of that. You can get a game out in between 30 and sort of 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour, but very unlikely to reach that long. So it's very, very quick in terms of having to deduce who's who. Which makes it interesting because then you have to make snappier decisions. You haven't got time to wait and see if the person you think is the killer, the cultist, because if you are right and they are the cultist and you give them another round, they might kill enough people to win it.
Oh, and actually, the person who was the cultist didn't kill me when they had the opportunity. So then I thought, oh, well, they can't be the cultist then because
they would have killed you.
They would have said, actually, the game's finished. Everyone's dead that needs to be dead. And then it made me sort of switch my suspicions onto other people, and I kind of ruled that one out, not thinking, it could be messing me about.
And there's fun, spooky elements in it. All the kind of horror tropes. And I like the bit where the lights just turned off.
Yeah.
And it's okay, now we haven't got any safety in numbers because the cultists can't strike if you're in the room with someone else. So
safety in numbers.
It gets to the point where I'm pretty sure I trust you. I'm just going to hang around. We'll stay together and we'll be safe. But no, lights have gone off. It's dark. He's going to kill her again.
Interact with everyone in the dark.
It's a fun. And I think the speed of the game helps it because it can then be played at the end of a game in night. Without having to be the main event in the way Battlestar Galactica or Unfathomable also is.
It's all about the traitoring in this one. You're supposedly trying to complete rooms and pick up books and things like that, but it doesn't have all that other stuff going on. It's really doubling down on.
I don't think anyone's ever won a game by going, we've got all the books. To be honest, if you get to that point, you're probably playing it wrong.
Yeah, I feel like it has that who's the traitor, like Secret Hitler has who's the traitor, like constantly just, is it you? Yeah. Is it you? But obviously you're moving around the board in order to find that. Yeah.
It was lots of fun though.
Yeah.
An unexpected fun game.
Next up was super fun for me, my game of the month. Wanted to get it off my shelf for a long, long time. I do talk longer about this one in the game of the month, so if you haven't caught that, do have a look. Anachrony. We played the super duper jazzy, big, massive box version, which is not mine, and I feel sad about that. I just have the little normal version for now. But yeah, had such good fun with that puzzle of a game. It was amazing. The mechs are great. I love the idea that you're kind of stealing from
the future,
and then having to go back in order to pay back, to not cause paradoxes. You're having to gain resources, build out different rooms. You're using different types of people to do different types of jobs. You want to really having to manage your workforce well with this game, which I think is one thing that I forgot to mention in the Game of the Month, actually. There was a whole other element of that about which workers you had available to put in your mechs and send to certain places to get you certain things, and how you were waking them up or not, whether you were having to pay for that or not, was really interesting.
And can you even power your mech? Do you have enough power to get all the mechs out? Because you might have a fleet of workers available, but if you couldn't actually power the mechs, they're not doing a great deal.
And then it gets to a point in the game where there's this sort of meteor strike, and then you don't get so many free mechs. You've got to pay for more of those. There's less slots available for different things. More bad stuff's happening. It changes and twists to the end of the game very quickly after that point, which was also super fun and interesting. So absolutely adored that game.
It's brilliant.
It's going to be high up on my favourite games.
I'm looking forward to playing it again, because obviously it was the first play. You're always a bit ropey around it. You know, you have to do a few rules checks. I think next time it's going to be interesting to play at 2-player as well, compared to the 4 players that we're playing at. But I can't wait to play it again. It was brilliant.
But I felt like we picked it up quite easy. You know, it's obviously very decision-y game. It's got a lot going on, but we actually picked it up and what you were doing and putting that puzzle together quite easily, whereas some games aren't quite so intuitive, whereas I found this one quite good.
It's a winner.
Yeah, loved it.
I think it might be a price concern though, because we only have the basic version.
Yeah, that's a problem, isn't it?
It really is.
I've already looked up the price of the mechs. Oops. You played Ankh again.
I did.
We have all both played that one before.
Yeah.
I don't think it's your favourite of that trilogy. Your Rising Sun is your favourite?
Rising Sun, it definitely is my favourite.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing it because I enjoy playing most board games, but it's not for me.
Fine.
I find it too punishing if you make a mistake early on. I misunderstood one of the rules. That's a terrible excuse, but it's what happened, and I felt like I could never catch up. So I played Brass Birmingham.
You did
as well, in a subsequent week, and enjoyed that way more. And that was a game that was new to me. I'd never played it before.
No, I have it.
We own it.
We own it, and I've played it a couple of times, but you hadn't actually gotten around to getting it.
And if I compare the 2 weeks, I enjoyed playing Brass Birmingham way more. Really got on with that game to a point. It's like, why have I not played this before? This is brilliant. Compared to Ankh, Brass Birmingham was by far the more enjoyable game.
We played a couple of Disney games, one of which was on our list of games that we were wanting to play. We played Disney Sidekicks, but we also played Disney Mickey and the Beanstalk. Yeah,
so Sidekicks was a disappointment. We haven't heard great things about it.
No, we weren't expecting great things, to be fair.
It's a family game that's actually very, very complicated and very, very ridiculously hard.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It's clearly aiming itself for a family, children's game in terms of its aesthetic and look and everything like that, but it's actually relatively tricky, I think, to win. So it's going to be quite disappointing for the target audience, I would have said. It
just kind of feels misaimed. It's very complicated. It's not a roll and move. It's not even a little step on from a roll and move. It's a really complicated, almost kind of area control game, area management game, and it just felt too hard. We lost through. It felt like no fault of my own. It was just unfortunate dice rolls after unfortunate dice rolls, which we could do nothing to avoid.
You'd had to go places which meant that you couldn't attack your villain, and then they were beefing themselves up a bit too much, so that by the time they'd gotten anywhere near you to attack, which you hadn't had an opportunity to do, it was curtains straight off. Whereas I seemed to sort of fly through mine, have all the right opportunities. So it was very sort of lucky, I would have said, or swingy, because I was pretty much at a point where I could go and rescue my hero and had gotten my villain down to nothing, and you were half dead and hadn't even put a punch in.
Yeah.
So it was very at odds in terms of our plays, and we're sat there playing the same game, and it felt very different.
Yeah, but disappointing. Because I had high expectation. But so Mickey and the Beanstalk was the other Disney kind of boxed game we played. And that's aimed at 4+.
Yeah, and certainly for that kind of younger children age, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed playing that more than I enjoyed playing Sidekicks. Because it's just nice. It's just a good family game. You're probably going to win if you play it.
Yeah, you are.
I think you'd have to
you
try
got really
to
unlucky at one point and kept rolling the giant time after time, and we were putting these tokens on the giant's trail, and I feel like most people aren't going to do that, and we still won relatively comfortably.
We played all the extension rules in it. It's 4+. It's important to remember that. But there's just a little mechanism though of putting your character on, and you slide down a beanstalk.
Oh,
we love that.
It's worth it for that alone.
Really good quality production.
And
quite cheap to get. So.
And the table presence is great.
Yes, it's really good game. Well, really good game for who it's aimed at.
Yeah. We also played Expeditions, which was really fun. Took slightly longer than we anticipated. I think it was a learning game for us as well, and it did take me that little bit longer for everything to sort of click into place for some reason, but those mechs are incredible.
Yeah, I'm pleased you got the Ironclad version.
Yeah.
The biggest headache I had with it was realising it wasn't Scythe, and not because it plays remotely like it, but the shared iconography, and we played so much Scythe, just means I was looking at things and having to go, no, that's not that, that's this thing in this game. I think at 4 players it would be plays differently to how it would at 2, because 4 players felt very much like, this is a good square, I want to stay here, a good hex. And if I'm here, no one else can be here. So I can get a lot of resources just by not using the move action.
I mean, you have to eventually, don't you?
Yeah,
but you
can't have more than
keep
2 turns. But
going,
it's worth being around, hogging the interesting space as long as you can.
Like the money making machine.
Yeah. It's weird how there is echoes of Scythe in it without it feeling like Scythe. I think that's aimed perfectly, because it doesn't feel like just retreading familiar ground.
Which we wouldn't want anyway. No, not at all. But it is a much, I think, a puzzlier game. Certainly, if you're not into combat type things, and that's why you haven't liked Scythe, you might like this one if you like the look of the artwork and stuff. Certainly, it's got that Scythe universe in spades. So
it's.
I enjoy it as a different alternative.
I'm looking forward to playing it more. I think I'm going to really love it after a few plays.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a grower, definitely, because it's just then all clicked into place after that first play, which was relatively late at night, so probably not done ourselves any favours with that.
But it did feel long for 4 players.
Yeah, and now that it's all clicked into place in my head, that would be good. Yeah. I will say quickly, we have played Gempire again. We have got 5 reasons to play, so do keep an eye out on that one if you want to see more.
And that's currently on Kickstarter, so if you are interested in a bidding 3-player minimum bidding game with some really lovely resources.
With no downtime.
No downtime. Super quick game. For quite a complex game, you get through it really quickly. So keep an eye out for that one.
I played Great Western Trail for the first time, the original one. I am interested now in playing the others and seeing and comparing them. I did really enjoy it. A nice puzzle. I liked kind of trying to work out the best path and then ending up having to pay different people different things as they put different bits along the paths, and all your different choices sort of coming together. It's another one that I think once you've played it once, you play it maybe differently a second time over, because you kind of think about the strategy of it a little bit more. I mean, I was working on the train element and pushing it all the way around and trying to hike up that, but I was 1 turn short of getting a great load of points for having done that, which was a little bit irritating. But I just couldn't get everything together for the end of game. So but a game that I'd like to play again, and certainly would try, Argentina, New Zealand. There's lots of
because you've got
versions of
I'm
that.
surprised you enjoy it, because you're not a fan of the cowboy theme, but
no,
I can see why you want to play Argentina, because you've got kind of a family connection with that. So I do. That does make sense. I like to try it because I never played it.
Yeah, no, I thought the puzzle of it was interesting, and so yeah, I really enjoyed that. We've played some other games that we've played many a times. We did get to play poetry for Neanderthals again.
I think that's a given because you're introduced to it by Phil and Lisa.
Yeah.
When you first met them,
and that was at AirCon.
It was good to finally get to play this bonkers game.
Yeah.
Of just saying one syllable words to try and give away a clue. And
Which I'm terrible at. All I can think of is the longest words ever. The moment someone tells me I can just use one syllable, I'm there 3-4 syllables. Oh no!
And we were playing the naughty version.
We were the not safe for work version.
So
that was,
whether that's better or worse, I don't know. I haven't played the original, but
I feel like it felt quite similar. I didn't feel like it felt. Certainly the cards that we played didn't feel too risque.
Yeah, it's a fun party game though. Mm-hmm. And obviously we played all the other party games. We played Just One.
Yeah.
And all the favourites came out.
Yeah, I think you played Lucky Numbers at some point.
Mm-hmm, I have.
Yeah. We did end up playing Portal.
Yes, we did.
The Uncooperative cake acquisition.
Cake acquisition game, which makes sense if you play Portal. I was pleasantly surprised. I bought it because of the IP. I love the original video game. Both of those I've played through, and that's why I got it, because I love the kind of sense of humour of those games, and the bleak nihilism of it. But you don't know a great deal about Portal.
No, I mean, like the cake components, that was fun. I thought that the board elements, I liked the way it moved and sort of recycled, but it was a bit awkward in terms of moving them. So in the end, we didn't end up actually attaching them. We sort of run them in rows next to each other, so it was a bit quicker and easier to transfer across.
Yeah, the board it's a lovely design. It's just kind of fiddly in practice.
But it's quite quick and easy puzzle to play. I thought.
It is a properly puzzly puzzle.
I liked the different card actions that you got to do. And then if you did choose to take it, and then there was a new rule for everyone to have to do that's on the reverse of that. Yeah. So that was really interesting. And if you hadn't read your card as to when you were going to use it and read the back, it was then like, oh no,
I've helped you out.
Negatively affected me for the next turn.
I had no idea what to expect. I bought it, like I said, because it said Portal on it. I was pleasantly surprised. It's a fun, puzzly game.
Yeah.
Over and done within 20-30 minutes.
Yeah. I think if you like Portal, it's one to check out. And you also like that sort of puzzle style. If you don't know anything about Portal, it might seem a bit random.
Yeah. It's enjoyable though. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I did. For me, the artwork's a little bit like, what's this? Yeah. Cake? What? We played Revive, that I absolutely adored. Almost made another game of the month. Great game. I picked it up at Essen last year, and it's taken this long to play it, and I was convinced I must play it before I went back again this year. I mean, there's an expansion coming out, so I'm just saying.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's lovely, and the player boards are brilliant with their different tiers. And you've got the switches, and you're moving around the tracks. And aesthetically, exploring the map is really intriguing.
Yeah.
Because then as it reveals as you're playing and you're going around, obviously you need food to do your journey to there, but you need knowledge to be able to explore it. And then you're collecting the alien brain things at the side.
We each had different player powers. I really enjoyed mine, which let me use books for everything.
Yeah, you had a good one.
Yeah.
I was mid-maxing. I was trying to be able to play cards that would give me big returns, which actually paid off quite well. I kind of scooted around the board, and I think until the end of game scoring, I was in the lead, and I kind of didn't realise how many points you would get at the end of the game if you'd done good things.
I did get quite a few points at the end.
Yeah, I came last from feeling quite proud of myself. But it was a really intriguing game.
Yeah.
It wasn't I thought it'd be much more worker placement-y than it is.
No, you're travelling around a lot for sure. You've managed to combo so much more stuff there. You've got these cards that are doing more and more actions for you. Maybe you're sometimes able to stack them into your player space. You're able to fire up the engine really that you've built on your little tracks that you're going around, which are giving you these extra bonuses. And sometimes there's this joyous moment where it's like, well, I can do that, and that will let me do that, and that will let me do that, and you end up with this maxi turns, which everyone's like, you've done what now? And it's like, I know.
Now, are we going to talk about my point hole?
Oh, yeah, whoops.
So, if you build a certain building, you gain the resources around it. And I'd explored.
You had explored.
I'd gone to all of the effort of exploring things, and I'd created a nice little channel where you could walk around and get loads of resources.
I think there was like four bonuses around it.
I was intending to go the next turn. I'd planned it out, and I thought no one's going to spend this much food to go this out of their way to come and get my point hole.
Yeah, I mean, you might look at my board and say, oh, she's not got enough food to do that, but it turns out I can use the books as the food, and then I just sort of skip and hop over there and take all those advantages.
Well, how the game would have played out differently.
Oh, to be fair, I did the same. You jumped into my resource area.
I did come along and scoop it up afterwards.
Exactly.
So
50-50.
Yeah.
But excellent game. Can't wait to play again.
I would play again. Same as Anachrony. It was a one where we played this at 4 now. I'm looking forward to playing at 2 and it going through quick.
Yeah, and it's one of those big games, both of them, but those big games that you've been waiting to table to learn to get them finally there, and it's like, yes, they're as good as I hoped they would be. Yeah. Sea Salt and Paper, loved it. I've already ordered a copy.
Yes, we saw it opposite your stand at UK Games Expo, so you'd seen it quite a lot.
I've heard loads about it at
Aircon. I love it.
Actually.
I really loved it. And it kind of clicked with me really quickly. Because you play in rounds, I kept winning rounds. It just seemed to really gel in my brain. I don't quite know why. I'm not going to complain about it because it's probably the only games I won that in those days. But yeah, really, and like I said, the card art. Oh,
they actually made the origami things in order to take the photos of them to put them on the cards, and they're just immense. Like I
can see us taking this with us. It'd be on our new when we're out in a restaurant or at a bar. Just a quick game to play between the two of us, and it apparently works really well at 2. So looking forward to our copy arriving.
If it comes in time, I might take it to Essen with me.
And I'll be sad because then I can't look at the pretty art while you're away.
We've mentioned Viking See-Saw. Also, we played The White Castle, a new game from Devir, also releasing at Essen. So again, I'm playing slightly earlier than launch in order to learn the game, know what I'm doing with that for work.
It's super.
Absolutely love it.
Super game.
Same designers that did Red Cathedral, which is a game we really love. And I think you can see elements of that in there in terms of the dice placement and sort of the options of what you can do and having all these different paths and options to do with your dice. But this is so compact, isn't it?
It's a step up from Red Cathedral. I really enjoyed Red Cathedral. I enjoy White Castle way more. And it's not just because the theme's more appealing. I just love that idea of once you place your gardeners and you have the bridge going over, it's like, I need to leave something on that so I can score with those after, at the end of the turn. But that's the most beneficial dice for me right now. So should I leave that there? And it's those decisions that keep playing over and over and over.
We found it really quick to learn, really intuitive in terms of the play. The iconography we picked up very quickly as well. I think it's the kind of game we can pick up on an evening after having a long day at work, and we kind of want to play something but don't want it to be, a 2-hour epic. It feels like a big game. It's in a smaller box, and it takes less time, but it gives you all that you want from all of that crunch and decision, and the theme that we love as well.
So See-Saw on Paper is a game we take with us to a restaurant while waiting for. I think the White Castle is going to be a game where it's like, it's the evening. We want a game we can just slip into and play in the space of I think 45 minutes at the very most. Yeah,
I mean, it took us an hour to play our first game, including, looking up, checking rules, etc. along the way. So that gives you an idea of that. But
really good.
Loved it. So.
It's going to do incredibly at Essen, and everyone's been talking about this game. It's super good.
Yeah, love it. And last but not least is Yado.
You did play Yado.
I got to teach it to our friends Bill and Lisa, and we had a great game. I unfortunately came last, which is really annoying, but it does remind me how much I absolutely adore that game. I love the theme of it. I love doubling down on that and reading out all the missions as everyone achieves them, and realizing the kind of the filth and the intrigue and the betrayal that's going on in this city.
So, once you start doing that, it's so thematic.
It really
and
is.
It makes sense why you needed a rope. And you needed to be where the geishas were, and you needed an geisha to distract. It all kind of makes sense when you read those cards. And like you said, it's just so dark. Some of the cards are really dark. It's interesting because I remember, and it's maybe because you played it so much. I remember when you first talked to me and showed us me, I thought, oh, this is a lot to take in. Now it feels so natural and intuitive, and I don't know if that's because I've played many more games, and it just feels comfortable to play and just really enjoyable, where you kind of step back and you haven't got to think about, a bit like driving a car, you haven't got to think about the gears or pushing a clutch down and steering. It just flows. And you start really then thinking about gameplay and strategy and trying to guess what other people are doing.
Yeah, because this game has a lot of puzzle. You're trying to achieve several missions, and you know what order you're trying to achieve them in, but you have to, cycle your weapons that you're going to need in the right order. You don't want to get rid of a weapon that you're going to need for another mission later, because how are you going to get that one back? So ordering what you've got for the mission you're hoping to achieve right now as soon as possible, and also simultaneously gaining all the resources and bits and bobs that you need for the next one in line. You can't do them one at a time, enclosed. You have to double down and keep building on other elements while still trying to do the one you're on, and trying to combine that, and people getting in your way, going to the wrong places, letting you down on supposed
I do feel bad.
Trades.
It wasn't my fault. I said, let's meet in the shop. I will sell you what I have.
And then you filled up the shop.
I didn't fill it all up. Someone else joined me in the shop. Wasn't my fault. You didn't get there faster. There's a turn track and you can go up it for a reason. You chose not to. I was waiting in the shop. You never showed up. Whose fault?
Sure.
Whose fault?
Sure. Anyway, it's a wondrous game. I still love it. I was glad to introduce it to people.
Yes.
And I now want to play it again. It's a
do.
good job my birthday's coming up, isn't it?
Special birthday, we have to
play all the Japanese games.
Play it on your birthday.
Yeah. Play Japanese food, Japanese music, Japanese games all day long.
So it's going to be the White Castle.
Yeah.
There you go. That
was it.
We've obviously played a lot more of these games, but we're only talking about the ones that are new or exciting
I
to
haven't
us.
included any BGA stuff because we just had enough.
It's been, we'll be talking here for another hour if we mention every game we've played.
Yeah.
I mean, chance to go over some of the old favourites, but yeah, we've played a lot of games this month. But what have you played this month? Do let us know in the comments down below. And have we talked about any game that you really love and you're like, yeah, I'm so pleased you played that? Interestingly, we had a comment recently where someone said they enjoyed us talking about not just the new games and how we do talk about older games that we've played. And so if you want us to keep doing that and not just covering the latest hotness, please let us know in the comments down below. Give us a steer on that.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you, of course. We are Box Meeples. I'm Ruby. This is Julian. If you haven't subscribed already, we would love it if you would do that. And if you are interested in any of these wondrous games that we've mentioned today, or on our shelves, or any other ones that are on your wish list, then for us, our friendly local game store is Chaos Cards, and we do have an online shop as well, of which you can find a discount code in the description that you can save some pennies if you were to order through them.
But as always, thank you so much for watching this very long video about a lot of games that we played.
Happy October gaming! Let's go!